Qin Gang is the Chinese ambassador to the United States. He joins us now. Mr. Ambassador, grateful for your time at this important moment. The speaker is in Taiwan, as you well know. China said don't go, as she is there now. The Biden White House says this should not be a big deal. Newt Gingrich, the speaker, visited 25 years ago. Why? Why is the Foreign Ministry of China says this? It will definitely take all necessary measures to resolutely safeguard the sovereignty and territorial integrity in response to the U.S. speaker's visit. You just heard our correspondent say there will be overnight military exercises. It's the Biden White House that says China here is making this a big deal. Why?
Well, firstly, on Speaker Pelosi's visit to China's Taiwan region, the Chinese side has repeatedly expressed its firm and strong opposition to the U.S. side at various levels through different channels. The Speaker's visit is a major event upgrading the substantive relations between the U.S. and Taiwan, and sends a very wrong signal to Taiwan independent separatist forces. It is a serious violation of the One China principle and the provisions in the three signed U.S. joint communiques.
She was
a serious blow.
Sir, I don't want to.
Foundation.
I don't want to.
Seriously infringe China's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
That is the position. Sir, let me jump in for 1 second. Forgive me, please. I don't want to make this contentious, but that is the position of your government. But she says she is there in honor of the Taiwan Relations Act. I understand how difficult this is, but Taiwan has a democratically elected government. Speaker Pelosi says it is very important at this time in the world for her, as the top woman in the United States government, the number 3 person in the U.S. government, to show its support. China could have just said, let it go, played it down, ignored it. Instead, the White House would say it is China looking for a provocation here.
Well, the question of Taiwan is not about democracy. It's about China's national sovereignty and the territorial integrity. And it is the aspiration of the more than 1.4 billion Chinese people to achieve the reunification of China. And it is an unbending will of the whole Chinese nation to defend our national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Nancy Pelosi is not a person in street. As you mentioned, he, as a speaker, he's number 3 in the U.S. government. So her visit, in whatever form, at whatever time during his tenure, carries high political sensitivities, and it will result in the escalation of the tension across Taiwan Strait and escalation of the tension in the U.S.-China relations. So we firmly and strongly condemn and protest against it. And you mentioned that this is not the first time of the speaker's visit to China, to Taiwan. Let me say this: 25 years ago, Speaker Gingrich visited Taiwan. It was completely wrong. The Chinese side was firmly opposed to it from the start. The U.S. side should draw lessons from it instead of making repeated mistakes. And one mistake cannot justify the following mistakes in the same nature.
Well, Speaker Pelosi says that you have to look around the world, and she sees Russia's invasion of Ukraine. She sees China violating its agreement with Hong Kong about the one government, two systems. And she says, therefore, it is extra more important at this point for the United States to publicly make clear it stands with the people of Taiwan and its democratically elected government. Your government objects. You just condemned it. What will it do about it is the big question. Are these military exercises designed to frighten Taiwan? Will there be a break in relations, any sanctions? What would happen in the U.S.-Chinese relationship?
Well, people should not confuse the question of Taiwan with the Ukrainian conflict. And on the question of Taiwan, it concerns China's core interest. And some people here in the United States, on the issue of Ukraine, they emphasized national sovereignty and territorial integrity. But why they do whatever they want to damage China's core interest, infringe China's national sovereignty, territorial integrity? This is a play of a double standards. So we firmly reject that. And China has every right to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity. We are fully justified to do what we must. The current situation is created purely by the US side. So of course, it has to bear the responsibilities.
People can have different opinions about who's responsible for the moment. We are at this moment. And as Will Ripley says, the Chinese government has announced these overnight military exercises. Again, that is a risk of a miscalculation and a provocation. Is it not? Is the government of China, President Xi Jinping, is he so determined to get Taiwan that if necessary, he will take it by force?
Well, to achieve the reunification, as I said earlier, is the firm and the strong will of the whole Chinese nation. So China's sovereignty cannot be infringed, and the Chinese people cannot be humiliated, and the reunification of China cannot be stopped. We said repeatedly in recent time that the PLA will not stay idle. And the duty of PLA, the China's military, is to defend China's sovereignty, territorial integrity.
Mr. Ambassador.
So we will take whatever we can to respond and to protect, to safeguard our sovereignty, territorial integrity. And our response will be very firm, strong, and forceful.
Full, strong, and forceful. Those are strong words, Mr. Ambassador. I'm grateful for your time today. We will watch how this plays out, and I hope you can stay in touch with us in the days ahead as this plays out. I appreciate your time today, sir. There's obviously a disagreement about some things, but I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.